It's a great happiness to be able to sit with the Reverend Dr. Gavin Ortlund, who is a participant in our marriage conference this weekend. Gavin, thanks so much for making time to sit with me.
My pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Your lecture I found superb, absolutely superb. You begin your lecture by drawing out something from C.S. Lewis's That Hideous Strength. Can you tell us what did you see there? What did Lewis strike you as contributing?
Yeah, people talk a lot about this book these days because it's very relevant to technology and the modern world, but it's also about a marriage. The very first sentence of this book is a newly married wife struggling in her marriage and talking about that. And they have a very thin, modern view of marriage. She's very offended at the thought of any sense of submission to her husband.
Of course, yeah.
And but she has this experience where actually one of the points for her of coming to God is realizing basically a biblical view of marriage. And she realizes marriage is not a malleable human invention. It's a reality that we submit to. And there's even talk about the angels' view of marriage, which is a fascinating thought. And in the context of that, she actually experiences that as joy, which I think is so interesting. And my heart is just burdened for young people in our culture, so many of whom need to go through a similar transition of
Yes.
perhaps the bracing offensiveness at the outset, but ultimately to the joy of submitting to life as God made it. It sounds so simple, but boy, that is what we need. And I think we feel the acute need for that right now in our culture.
Well, no doubt, with incredible levels of discouragement and depression, drug usage to escape anything but a joyless reality. You describe marriage as a pathway also to life, that the walking down of this pathway is a pathway to life. And you say that when a couple weds, it's not just an action of two human beings. It's more than that. You affirm that, I think you just flat out say, God is working.
Yes.
And my question to you is, how?
Yeah, this is an amazing thought. I've always believed this, but it honestly came into my heart a bit more in preparing for this conference to really think of the sacredness of this. This is drawing from Matthew 19, where Jesus quotes Genesis 2:24, the one flesh passage, which is a foundational text in Scripture about marriage. But then he adds on the commentary, therefore what God has joined together, let not man separate. Now, we've probably heard those words many times in our lives, but just the wonder that's wrapped up in what God has joined together. And I think what we can learn from that is that a wedding is not just two people choosing each other, though that is going on. But there are three parties, the groom, the bride, and God is uniting them, making two into one, and into a permanent union. And that is a sacred thing, to think that God is at work in a marriage.
Yes, I agree.
It's what that means is this is a divine institution. This is not just something we came up with.
Yes.
This is something God gave us.
Not a human invention.
Yes. Even in my talk I'm giving tonight, I'm going to talk about this as the first human institution that God made. Before there's government, there's marriage.
Yes.
And right there in the Garden of Eden.
I love that. I love that emphasis that you nailed about God's involvement. And I see it as you do at the beginning, that in the actual act itself, God is at work. But I would think, I'm going to throw this out and see if you agree with it, that that's something that remains a constant, that he is involved at the formation, right? He's joining them initially, but also marriage is, at least it has been in my outlook, my vision, and my experience, it's been a growing union, right? It's a growing union. It's something that the unity deepens and involves more things, and God continues to work through the different stages of married life, of maturation, even to the very end of life, Do you see it this way?
Yes, it's fun. As you were saying that, I was thinking of my grandparents. And you know of my family, and they lived in this part of the country. And I remember watching an interview of them when they were around their 50th wedding anniversary. And my grandfather would start to answer a question, and my grandmother would jump in and finish the answer. And then she would start to answer a question, and he would jump in and finish. And after a while, the interviewer drew attention to this, and they hadn't even realized they had been doing this. But they were so used to life together that even to talk and communicate, there was this deep unity that was just being expressed in that particular way. But knowing them, I know it wasn't just a matter of their communication style. After 50 years of one flesh, 50 years of a comprehensive shared life, sharing everything we are with this other person, they tackled everything together. And, if people have seen that, they'll sense something beautiful about that. That's what I hope the people in our culture who are in need of hope and in need of light will see from our marriages, to see there's something beautiful about this, and it would seem attractive to them.
I love that. Over the years, parishioners of mine have asked me, Father, what can we do to prosper the church? How can we help the gospel succeed and move? I mean, yes, the gospel is the power of God, but we can also dissolve that power if we're, what shall I say, hideous examples of the gospel, right? We can shelter people from that power, or we can really assist it. And I've often told them, I said, look, or they ask me, why is the parish growing? And I often look at them and I said, people hear the truth, but to see it actually being lived out in a couple on your left and a couple on your right, to come to church and to come into fellowship with people who are living that miracle of Christian marriage and are developing that level of unity, it really does, to me, put a stamp of authenticity on the message.
Right.
And convinces people that it's not just a matter of mental assent, but this actually can be proved in their lives. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. If someone is watching this video and they have the same burden that we have to speak hope and light to our culture, but they feel that they're not equipped for that, they don't feel they have good oratory, they may not feel they have the good words for this. A lot of people feel this way. One simple step they can take is go home and love their family deeply. If you're a husband, show the love of Christ to your wife every single day. Treasure her. Cultivate a richness of intimacy and love in your marriage. That is part of how we display the beauty of Christ, I believe. And I've seen this happen. People look and they say, wow, there is something to that.
Yes.
How do they forgive like this?
Yes, I love that too.
And it's attractive. It draws people in.
Yeah. Turn your family life into something inexplicable apart from the love of Christ. So when people see it, they're like, what in the world? You're right, it's not in the world. I mean, it's in the world, but it's not of the world.
Yeah.
It's something else. Young people, I know tons are listening to you on your Truth Unites platform, in your books. The same's happening with me. And a lot of them are hearing us talk about this, and they want it. They want it, but also many are not coming from that experience. They've been raised in a different experience. Half of the young people today are in homes without a mother and a father. And they're inspired by this, but they're wondering, how do I actually accomplish that? How do I go from conceiving of it to actually becoming a partaker? You come from a noble family. I come from a beautiful family. A lot of people don't have that heritage. They're suffering badly because they don't have that heritage. What would you say to those who are thirsty for this, but don't exactly know how to accomplish it?
Yeah. I have a burden, especially for young men who feel exactly as you're describing, and they feel hesitant, and no one has encouraged them. No one has been a father figure to them. No one has built them up. I think sometimes they've only felt scolded. They've never had someone say, affirm their value as a man and say, you have a lot to offer to a wife. And the instinct of my heart is to give encouragement, that they do have a lot to offer. And I think there can be sometimes an over hesitation about it, as though you need to be at some great, huge level of maturity before you might, for example, be ready for marriage. And I believe that, I want to be careful to think this through. I think you should think through the finances of it. You should think through your preparedness in other ways, spiritually and so forth. And at the same time, sometimes you can just jump in and mature together.
Yes.
And I guess I want to discourage an over hesitation among young people. The Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and is blessed by the Lord. And you don't have to be perfect before you're eligible for that. I want to give people a nudge to move toward where God is calling them. God might be calling them to singleness. God might be calling them to marriage, but to not overthink it almost.
Yes.
This is an institution that God made. I remember when I got married, I didn't know if it would be this huge transition. And it just felt very comfortable. It felt very joyful. Not to say that marriage is easy or to paint a picture that's not realistic. And yet God designed this for us. And so knowing the amount of hesitation that is out there, especially among young men, I just want to encourage them to take one step after another. Learn how to pursue a girl. Learn how to be honorable in your conduct to women. Yes. You get a lot of young men, they've never been challenged in this way, and they don't understand that you can be a protector of women. You can be honorable. You can be someone who makes everyone else around you safer by your conduct.
Yes.
Learn to be an honorable man.
Oh, that's so good. So good. And trust God to provide you your Eve and the course of seeking honor. Oh, I love that. He made you rich. That was a very great happiness to meet your Esther today. And I hope one day to be able to meet your 5 children.
Yes.
Before they're too old.
Yes. Yeah.
He has made you fruitful and has multiplied you, dear brother. I'd like to finish our discussion by reading a quote that you provided from the highly respected Lutheran pastor and martyr Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Yes.
So let me just read that, and I'm hoping you would explain why you put this in your text here. Mm-hmm. He says, God gives you Christ as the foundation of your marriage. Live together in the forgiveness of your sins, for without it no human fellowship, least of all marriage, can survive. Mm-hmm. Don't insist on your rights. Don't blame each other. Don't judge or condemn each other. Don't fault with each other, but accept each other as you are and forgive each other every day from the bottom of your hearts. Why did you choose that and put this in your lecture?
Bonhoeffer wrote that a few weeks before he was killed, April 9th, 1945. It was a wedding sermon he wrote for his niece and her husband-to-be. And what I love about it is the hope that it gives. I think some people, I feel so honored to be a part of this conference because I think this is a topic that is so urgent in our culture. So I think coming together to help address it is so healthy and good. But I'm aware that for some people, marriage is a painful reality. And there can be so many different reasons for that.
Yes.
And I would just want to give them hope and encouragement in line with what Bonhoeffer says in that text, that you do not have to muster up the skills and the strength to do marriage, to either pursue marriage or to live in marriage in the way that God would call you. Let Christ be the foundation of your marriage, and let his forgiveness flow through you to your partner. We don't have to manufacture forgiveness in our hearts. We can simply collapse at the feet of Christ and ask him to do what we cannot.
Yes.
And so for anyone watching this who feels in a hopeless situation, leaving room for all the different complexities of what that might be, I would want to direct them to Jesus. And I'd want to let them know he is the ultimate husband. He is the one from whom we derive strength to follow in his ways. And I think Bonhoeffer puts that well for us all to consider.
I do too. Christ will help you. Christ will help you through all the challenges, through every obstacle, through your own weaknesses, to endure each other, to forgive each other. When Perez and I got married in 1988, we got married. And we learned a practice we learned it actually from our Orthodox monasteries. We saw it there first. They have a practice in the schedule of services. There's the evening service is Vespers. That's followed immediately by dinner. And then at the end of the dinner, the monks or the nuns, wherever you are, go back into the church to read a service called Apodipnon, which means after supper. It's the little compline. And at the end of the little compline, the abbess or the abbot, whoever is the senior governing monk, makes a prostration towards all of the monks or nuns and asks for forgiveness, saying, "Forgive me, a sinner." And then they all make a prostration back to their elder and say, "Forgive me, a sinner." And they exchange the kiss of peace. And that's how they end their day every day.
Oh, wow.
It's just magnificent. And I saw it and I thought to myself, we should do that. And I found out actually that it was very common for Orthodox Christians to actually ask spouses to ask each other and to ask their children. So I've spent the last 30-something years, my oldest son's 35, after we say our evening prayers, before we go to bed, we just make a small bow and say, "Please," I say first, "Forgive me, please forgive me, a sinner, son." And then my child will say, "God forgive us and forgive me." And then we give each other a kiss and go to bed.
Beautiful.
What a recipe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bonhoeffer is offering a recipe for peace.
Beautiful.
Familial peace.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming to Riverside. Thank you for being with us. I hope it will be the beginning of more collaborations in the future, God being our helper, because I am very, very happy to become your collaborator and your friend, brother.
It is such an honor for me. I can't say it enough. And I think it's important for us to be able to come together in these many ways that we can. So thank you for your initiative and your friendship and the honor of getting to be involved.
A very happy birthday to all of you, dear ones.
Which we commemorate.
Hungry for truth in a world full of noise? Download the Patristic Nectar App, a bridge to the timeless wisdom of the Orthodox Church. Whether you're at home, on a walk, or in the car, you'll have instant access to hundreds of hours of powerful sermons, saints, lectures, conference videos, and podcasts, all rooted in the teachings of the Christian faith. New content is added weekly, and best of all, everything is completely free. Join thousands of others growing in the faith every day. The Patristic Nectar app is completely free thanks to generous supporters. Download it today and consider helping us nourish others with the sweet teachings of the Holy Fathers.